Welcome to the Maryland Means Business podcast. I'm Cal.
And I'm Chessie. Cal, I'm leading with something that made me do a double take. The Ravens are staying put.
Staying put where, though? People forget the team's actual headquarters and practice facility isn't downtown. It's out in Owings Mills, Baltimore County.
Right, and this week they signed a 40-year lease extension to keep it there. 40 years, Cal. That's not a season. That's a generation.
Give me the number because I know you're holding one.
A public-private investment of up to $120 million, and up to $25 million of that is state money.
Hold on. You just handed me the biggest number of the episode and we're barely 2 minutes in. What happened to saving it for the end?
Chessie's rule isn't retired, Cal. It evolved. Sometimes the biggest number is the reason you show up at all. You lead with it. Then you spend the rest of the show proving it was worth it.
I'll allow it. But I'm tracking this because last time I called out that the rule had gone quiet twice in 3 episodes.
Consider this me answering the accusation. So is $120 million a good deal for a county to make? Let's actually look at it instead of just reacting to the sticker price.
That's fair. Walk me through the history first.
Maryland and its partners have put more than $520 million into that Baltimore County home since the Ravens landed there back in 1996.
$500 million over 30 years. That's real skepticism-worthy money if you're a taxpayer who's never once bought a jersey.
Sure, and I get that argument. I'm not going to pretend it isn't a fair question to ask. But look at what's actually happening on the ground every single season. More than 632,000 fans came through the gates for home games last year alone, and the county's expecting around 24,000 people just for training camp this summer.
That's hotels, restaurants, gas stations, parking lots, all getting a cut of that traffic, whether they sell a single jersey or not.
Exactly. And the team itself supports hundreds of jobs on top of that, before you count a single ticket sold. The Department of Commerce Secretary, Harry Coker Jr., put it well. He said the Ravens, quote, do far more than attract hundreds of thousands of fans to games and spark vital economic activity. The team is a core pillar of Maryland's identity.
Here's my actual take, and it's not about football at all. Every time a county re-signs its anchor tenant instead of watching it walk to another state, that's a retention story, not a recruitment story. Recruiting a brand new company is flashy. It gets the press release and the ribbon cutting. Keeping the one you've already got for another 40 years is the harder, less glamorous win, and it almost never gets the same headline.
And it's a pattern, Cal, because it's not just the Ravens this week. I noticed the same instinct show up twice more.
You're teeing up story too. Let's hear it.
Governor Moore announced $5 million in state awards split across 9 organizations to expand registered apprenticeship programs across Maryland.
Okay, quick translate the jargon moment, because registered apprenticeship intermediary is a mouthful and I refuse to just repeat it at people. What is that, plainly?
It's an organization that sits in the middle, connecting employers who need trained workers with people who want to earn a paycheck while they learn the job. Think of it as a matchmaker with a training budget instead of a dating app.
So the state isn't funding one company's job training program. It's funding 9 of these matchmakers at once, so the model scales everywhere instead of staying a pilot forever.
Right, and the list is genuinely wide. This isn't just tech. Baltimore's Promise, the Frederick Innovative Technology Center, Hamilton Riker Group, Harford Community College, Job Forward, the Maryland Agricultural Education Foundation, Open Classrooms, Prince George's Community College, and the University of Maryland College Park.
That is not one industry, Chessie. That's basically the whole economy. Healthcare, IT, cybersecurity, early childhood education, engineering, manufacturing, logistics, agriculture, behavioral health, financial services, and human services, all pulling from the same $5 million pool.
Which tells you this isn't a favor to one flashy sector. It's aimed at literally every business owner who has ever tried to hire someone certified, licensed, or properly trained and come up completely empty after months of searching.
Governor Moore's quote on this one is worth repeating in full. He said, "To win the fights of tomorrow, we are building pathways to work, wages, and wealth today by expanding access to apprenticeship opportunities."
And Secretary of Labor Portia Wu backed that up in a way aimed squarely at owners, not just workers. Her line was that registered apprenticeship is a cornerstone of Maryland's workforce development strategy because it delivers results for businesses and workers. Not just workers, businesses too, named right there in the sentence.
There's one line in here that actually got me, from Dr. Teresa Felder over at Harford Community College. She said this investment will help advance a statewide solution to the critical shortage of early childhood educators.
That's the part I love, and it's such a Chessie thing to zero in on, but stick with me. Every business owner with young kids on staff knows exactly how much a childcare shortage costs them in call-outs, late arrivals, and turnover. This is a workforce fix showing up in a place most people wouldn't think to look for one.
My take here, and this one's got a little heat to it. A dozen headlines get written every year about landing the next big out-of-state headquarters. Almost nobody covers the unglamorous plumbing underneath it, the training pipeline that actually lets an owner fill the job once the building's built and the tax credit's been claimed. This is that plumbing, and it deserves the same column inches as the ribbon cutting.
Completely agree. All right, one more. And Cal, this is the one that plays the longest game of the three by a wide margin.
Good, because I need a palate cleanser after all that workforce talk. Give me something with a few more zeros and a little less urgency.
Oh, this one has zeros, but zero urgency is exactly the wrong way to think about it, and you're about to see why.
I have a feeling I'm not going to see a return on this one until we're both retired from this podcast.
Fair guess, and maybe not even then. Maryland is putting $17.7 million through something called the Maryland E-Innovation Initiative Fund, MEF for short, to endow brand new research professorships at 4 different universities.
Break down the money for me, school by school.
Hood College gets $1 million. Johns Hopkins gets $2.75 million across 2 separate awards. University of Maryland, Baltimore gets $1.5 million, also across 2 awards. And University of Maryland, College Park gets the biggest single share, $3.25 million across 2 awards.
And the Department of Commerce runs the program, but this isn't free money going out the door with no strings attached.
Right. Each of those grants gets matched by the university itself with its own qualified funds.
So the state's dollar has to earn a partner dollar before it counts. That's a real accountability mechanism, not just a check being cut and forgotten about.
Exactly. What's actually getting researched with this money is a real spread, too. It's not one narrow lane. Nursing practice, medicine and innovation, neurosciences critical care, gene and cell therapy, pediatric cardiac surgery, data assimilation, and Parkinson's disease research.
Here's my honest, skeptical question. The one an actual business owner would ask me if I brought this up at a chamber breakfast. What's the catch? Or more fairly, what's the timeline? A grocery store opening helps a neighborhood this month. An endowed research chair doesn't help anybody pay rent this month.
That's fair, and it's the honest nature of this kind of investment. I won't dress it up as something it isn't. It's the same bet Maryland's made before with programs like TEDCO. You're not funding this quarter's business news. You're funding the company, the cure, or the technique that gets built here a decade from now instead of getting built somewhere else entirely. The payoff shows up eventually as an ecosystem, not as a single press release.
So tie all 3 of these together for me, because I think there's a real thread running through today's entire rundown, not just 3 unrelated headlines.
The Ravens deal keeps an anchor tenant in place instead of chasing a replacement. The apprenticeship money grows the workforce Maryland already has instead of poaching talent from some other state. And the research funding grows university programs already sitting right here instead of importing a lab from somewhere else.
3 completely different stories, one instinct running underneath all of them. Maryland spent this week betting on what it already owns, rather than chasing something shinier and newer. And honestly, as someone who tallies this stuff for a living, that's the harder discipline to actually keep up over 40 years, or even over 4.
All right, that's the rundown. A stadium deal, a workforce pipeline, and a research bet, all quietly pointed the same direction.
Before we go, 2 quick things, same as always.
1, every number and every quote you heard today traces back to a real, fetched source, and we link every single one of them in the show notes.
2, our sponsor. This episode's brought to you by Maryland Smart Energy. Smarter buildings, smaller bills.
They help Maryland businesses cut energy costs through utility-funded programs. And right now, through September, that includes HVAC tune-ups with nothing out of pocket, fully funded by Empower Maryland.
And I want to say this plainly because it actually matters. That's not a freebie someone's handing you out of kindness. You're already paying for it every single month through the Empower Maryland line on your utility bill. Maryland Smart Energy just makes sure you actually collect on what you've already paid for instead of leaving it on the table.
Same instinct, honestly, as how we make this show in the first place. It's built almost entirely with AI, and we're picky about which tools we use. Ones from companies that cover their own energy and grid costs and use water-efficient cooling, instead of quietly pushing those costs onto Maryland households and small businesses who never signed up for it.
Keep the cost where they belong. Same idea as our sponsor. Find Maryland Smart Energy at mdsmartenergy.com.
And find us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, and now on YouTube if you'd rather watch than listen.
Head to MarylandMeans.business for the full newsletter and every source we use today.
And remember, Maryland means business.